Hi, my name is Brennan, and I'm the product specialist for Numark in Canada. This video series is going to help you get started with your NS6 Mark II. I'm going to quickly go over all the features with it, and so if you purchase one, you'll be able to use everything as quickly as possible. Or if you're just researching it, this will be a good overview as to how the thing works. So let's start with how to load a track into it. I have this browse knob right in the top here, and I can go up and down. If I push it in, I'll either be in my crates on the left here, or if I pick something like, let's see, Benefits of Insomnia, I can then go through and pick any of this content. So let's do this Diddy by Dwight. Now I want to load that onto deck 1. To control my different decks, this is 1 right now, this is 2. You'll see that there's a 3 up top, and I push that. It lights up and gives me deck number 3 and deck number 4 right there. So 1, 2. And I want to load this song onto deck number 1. Above every channel, I have this little load button. So to load onto 1, I'll go channel 1 and press load. So now that content's there on channel 1. If I press my pad, it'll start the playback for me. And I'm going to use my thumb here to press the playback in that position. I have my control here to set the playback. And right now sync is on, so it's synced to the other decks. It's not the original BPM, it's much slower. So I'm going to press sync. And I'll try to do that close to the 1. So it sounds good. Now I've already set up all these cues to jump around the track. So if I want to move, I just press on the beat. And back to the start. So if I have a song that I haven't put content into, then what I do, so let's find something that's a little bit newer here. I'm going to go down to this bin and we'll just load in this track here. So we're going to go and load it onto deck number 2. I'm going to press load, and you can see how none of the pads are lit up here. So that means I can put in the cue position. So I'm going to push the cue 1 time, and that'll put it in the loop. And if I press it a 2nd time, now it's going to play back the track.
And still at Studio 54, people crowd the doors.
And I can add other cues to it if I want to. If I want to reset any of those cues that I put in, I hold down Shift and I press the pad where it is. So I can
And still at Studio 54, people crowd the doors. And still at Studio 54.
So that gives me a really easy, quick way to revisit any part of the track. So let's get back over here to deck number 1. If I press Q button a 2nd time, now I have all those cue positions that I've set up, but a loop is going to occur when I hit it. So let's push right here, and you can see how it's a very quick loop there. So I'm going to use my parameter adjust to open that up, and you'll see up here on the top left that it's going to open and close that positioning, right? So let's go to 2 here, and I'll do... Now I can expand with parameter adjust, or I can shrink it down if I want to. I can revisit any of the loops that are in the song, and I can turn them off if I want to as well. And then off we go. That's how this Q button works. Next to that, I have the auto button. So let's press Q and let's find another track. So again, I'm just going to quickly go into the bin. I'm going to press back and I'm going to pick something maybe from this MPC beat, right? So I'm going to highlight which one I want. So let's do iBeat 2. Let's do iBeat put together here. And we're going to do that onto deck number 4, which is not loaded up. So I'm going to press load here. That's on channel 4, and I'll press 4, and now I'll have access to that song.
Really can't remember where I was or I went. Every last gold doubloon in my chest had been spent.
So now I have that track loaded up. So let's go to my auto section, and we'll get that cue playing back from the top. Right, and I'm going to go to auto, and now I can apply a loop and change the size of it based upon how close to the end I get. So up top, very quick, and I can open it up. If I press it a second time, it'll play through the track for me. But this will only happen where the playback head is located, where in cue, it would allow me to jump around and have a loop from any cue position. And that was in this menu here. So I'm going to press auto a second time, and now I'm going to have an unlatched loop. So that's how my auto section works there. Next to that, I have my loop button. So with the loop section, I get the top pads here for saving the loops, and the bottom pads are for my loop control. So in and out and off and recall. And I can save that loop just by pushing right here. So if I want to populate one here, we're going to go in, out, off. Let's do another one here. And one more here. If I wanted to do more than 4, I press loop a second time, and now I have these positions. Now any of those loops can be recalled. So I have the one layer here, I have my second layer here, and all I do is push whichever one I want to recall and push the bottom right button. And again, this will drop it out. So that's how my loop section works. Next to that, I have my sampler section. To get into sampler on Serato, I just have my sampler tab right here, and you can see when I do that, I get this drop-down menu that has all of the content into there. I've loaded a lot of these drum sounds directly from Alesis.com because there's a lot of drum samples that are free and easy to download in the sampler section. So if you were looking at hardware samplers, you probably saw that content there. If not, Google Sampler Pro, Sampler Pad Pro, or from Alesis, and you'll find all this great content there that's free and instant access. Just if you wanted to populate some new drum sounds in here, there's a lot of other places too to get content, but I like that little treat. So with Sampler, it allows me to have drum sounds assigned. Now I have different ways to control where the audio output is, and you can see right over here this output. Right now it's assigned to 4, so that means that channel number 4 is where I'm going to have that control. So I can have it with a filter, if I want to. And I have my effects on and off switches I can apply to, so it's feeding out to B. So I can go with some really weird results. So yeah, that gives me some fun stuff to play around with. Now with sampler, the top level is going to be the same volume regardless of how hard I hit it. If I push it a second time now, it's a dynamic pad. It's got velocity to it. So if I'm doing finger drumming, that gives me a little bit more control. The final button on the NS6 Mark II in this section is called the slicer. So I can use my cues to start playing back, and then when I push slicer, it gives me this tracking of the song. So if I want to revisit any part that I hear, I just push that pad. Now I can open it up with parameter adjust, or make it smaller with it, like for the loop size. If I press slicer a second time, it's going to loop in that section. Gives me a really quick way to remix a loop. I press it again and it'll play back from that position. That entire button section, that's very similar in functionality to the Numark NV, to the Numark NS7 series as well. And the biggest difference with the NS6 Mark II is that it has dual USB ports on the back of it. That allows me to plug in two laptops simultaneously and then use these switches up on the top to jump from the other. And then it borrows the same LEDs that you'd have on the Numark Platinum. So it gives me the same track information, the BPM, and also time remaining in playback position for scratching. So yeah, it's that's how that particular portion works. Definitely please check out my other videos. I'm going to go over how capacitive touch works, how to dial up effects and all that kind of stuff too. Thanks for watching and thanks for subscribing.